Hey everyone, this is Marcel here. Today's video was inspired by an experience I had when I was younger. I would go through a relationship, typical in any sense, and then all of a sudden the woman, weeks, months down the road, would tell me, I finally have the confidence to leave you. I would say over the course of my life that I've heard variants of that phrase probably 3 or 4 times, enough that I saw a pattern from it. Perhaps they would say something in discussion like, no, I have to stay confident, I can do this, we need to break up. Later in the video, I will cover where I honestly believe that was coming from. But first, how it affected me. Now, when I was a child growing up, I was exposed to situations where adults around me were having abusive relationships, and I always watched the woman struggle with having the confidence of being able to leave the man. So when I heard that, I put it in the perspective that I must have been like some kind of abusive guy, or at least I did something abusive. And it's only been after learning about MGTOW in the last few years that I've really started to realize, going back through and picking apart all of my past experiences, what was actually happening. See, I was as blue pill as they come, as I've said in previous videos. I would do anything for the girl. I would always take really good care of the relationship and would go out of my way to keep her comfortable. And when they would leave me, it would always be devastating because I didn't do anything from my perspective that would seem wrong. Well, I'm not going to go into the specifics of why the relationships failed, but rather in the mindset of the woman who was telling me that she had the confidence to leave me, and how said confidence plays a role from a woman's perspective in regards to the relationship. So I have noticed, as I'm sure many of you have as well, that confidence is changing among women. It's not like you can go up to a heavy, obese woman, or perhaps someone who doesn't have the most attractive features, and hit on them and get the response that you would maybe 10 years ago. There has been a massive shift in the level of confidence for the average woman, and although being confident in most aspects of life is critical and necessary to be successful, there's a specific difference when it comes to relationship dynamics and how the genders relate to confidence. There is a direct positive correlation between the quality of man that a woman will take into a relationship, by that I mean his market value, however she may interpret it, and her level of confidence in herself as to what she feels she deserves. Now, where we come to a problem with this is that the confidence that she has correlates directly with the level of validation that she's getting from society and how much influence she receives as to whether or not she should be with that guy in the first place. We could almost call it false confidence, because in a sense it is derived not from herself or from her accomplishments, but rather her reflection through those that she interacts with, and that can be corrupted. It either gets misused or so out of place that it becomes toxic to her. We are coming into a generation of women that were told growing up things like, no man is good enough for you, or you deserve better than him, your standards can never be high enough. This is why it's almost impossible to find a new Walt, because if you find that perfect woman in every way, she gets messed with by everybody around her that she interacts with, telling her, no, don't accept that, change this, change that, you shouldn't have to put up with him, even if the relationship is flawless and both people are comfortable with the way that it is. In the perfect couple, there will be something about that guy that one of her girlfriends is gonna have an issue with, and the influence from one woman to another is greater than that of the bond of the relationship if the influence is frequent or strong enough, because of the level of importance of social validation. More often than not, these external influences are even coming from a state of jealousy or desire for the guy themselves. How often does it happen where the girl breaks up with the guy because her best friend says to, and then 2 months later the best friend is the one that's dating him? I went back over a number of my relationships where this happened, and realized that a great deal of what was being said wasn't directly relating to the relationship itself. It's nothing that I was doing or that she was doing or how we were interacting. It was all coming from outside sources, from people that had been talking to her, from people at her church or her work or whatever had influenced them, and ultimately keeping a boyfriend was less important than keeping the friendships with those other people, specifically the women. And we're not only talking family here, it's frequently friends and colleagues. Then you have one of the tragic situations where a woman's confidence level is really low. She'll go and get with a decent guy who will work with her, spend the time and the energy helping her to build up herself, build up her confidence, and that will be shown in the way she looks. Maybe she loses a bunch of weight, goes and starts working out, eats better, dresses better, acts better, has a nicer house, nicer car. All these things are going really well for her. She starts getting all this male attention, which boosts up her confidence level to the point where she's more valuable than the guy in her own mind, and dumps him. This is one of the reasons why dating sites don't work, is because women will go on there and they'll get so much male validation that not only can they pick from hundreds, even thousands of men in some cases, but why should they even bother getting a boyfriend if they're getting that satisfaction from the experience of being on the site? All that those sites are doing is peddling the dream of having a girlfriend to men and peddling the appreciation of men to women. It's a money farm. To men, they say for $30 a month, we'll give you the confidence to ask girls out. Can't promise they'll say yes. To women, they say for $30 a month, we'll show you how important you actually are to all these men. I plan to make a video at some point dissecting the concept of dating sites, but I'll save that for another day. There is a dream, though, that blue pill men are out there chasing, that there is a woman that will appreciate them for who they are, for their attributes, and just want to be around them, want to stay with them because they like them for fundamentally who they are, as opposed to simply how they benefit her. But to be in a relationship with the average woman, from the way society is going, would be taking a gamble that at some point she's just not simply going to decide that he's no longer good enough for her. It doesn't matter what he does or how hard he tries, it's all a perceived level of value, which is bringing us into the whole market value discussion. It's all a big catch-22. You see the same thing in retail from a business management perspective. You don't want to pay your average employees too much because then they'll save up their money and become independent of the company and walk away. You don't want to pay them too little because then they'll resent the company and then eventually leave to find better opportunities. You want to pay them just a little more than what they need to survive. But if a guy did that on a romantic perspective, the fact that he was even paying attention to the level of confidence, he would be a toxic, misogynistic male. Yet his actions, one way or the other, plays an actual role in the outcome of the relationship. So, what's he supposed to do? And then ultimately he could do everything right and keep a perfect balance in every way, and then someone else is going to step in and screw the whole thing up for him because she decides that the relationship's bad even when it's not. There is a definite and obvious reaction to how many men are going their own way, though. You can see it in all of these videos where women are becoming red-pilled and trying to claim that they're different, perhaps even trying to say they're Nawalt. You see, when the validation, specifically from men, starts to drop off, so does the confidence. And when they lose confidence, they start to question and doubt themselves. These same women would not be claiming anything like that if they were getting hit on 20 times a day by various guys. They're only saying it because they're not getting the level of attention that they feel they want or deserve. As soon as they feel secure again, they're going to revert right back to what they were before. I, for one, think it's hilarious to see all of them squirming, trying to figure out what's wrong, not realizing that a lot of us have just walked away. We're no longer interested in them or their games. And it doesn't matter how much they change the rules or shuffle the pieces, we're no longer sitting by the board to see it. If you sit back and watch, with time, there's going to be more supposedly red-pilled women by the day. And most of them won't even understand the concept of where that came from. They'll just be parroting it back to try and hope to catch a successful MGTOW, or possibly even try to squirm their way into the ranks and change things like they did in the MRA, but they don't get it doesn't work that way with us. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. If you agree with me, let me know. If I missed something, say it. If you think I'm full of crap, go ahead and tell me that too. If you want to hear more content like this, like and subscribe. Until next time, this has been Marcel.